And so let's put our hands together and give them a welcome as they come. So Janet and Joe and Emma.
Yes, thank you, folks.
Just to say, kids are staying in the month of July, as you know. So,
Oh, right. Now you can see me. I thought they weren't going to be able to see me over there. Thanks, Andy, for that. Okay, don't worry, we'll pass that about. I think they're on, aren't they? Yeah? Hit the top of them. Sorry, just... No. Do they need to click them on? Sorry, Andy. The technophobes are not on the platform this morning. Thank you. That's one going. Good. Yep, got it now. Good. You know, we've just been listening about Lauren, and Lauren has chosen in her life to do a lot of away mission work. She's also done some here as well. But life with Jesus is very exciting. I mean, and we can make it more exciting by actually listening to what he's saying to us and doing it. That's the most exciting part of our walk with God. And we have 3 people on the platform here who are going to tell us a little bit about their life's journey. And we're going to just hear how they became a Christian, what led them to actually follow Jesus, and then we're going to hear how they have grown in their faith. And that's for every single one of us here today, because when we ask Jesus into our hearts, that's step 1. And then there's a whole life ahead of us. There's a whole exciting, actually, adventure if we allow him to do all he wants for us. And every single one of us in this room today can have that adventure, whether it's far away or whether it's at home here. We can live for Jesus every day. And so I thank Janet and Emma and Joe for coming onto the platform, just like everyone else. And we're all a bit nervous this morning, but you people are quite nice, aren't you? You're not too bad, you know. You'll cheer us on nicely. They will cheer us on. It's really nice. So we're just going to start and ask the first question. We don't have a lot of time, but we're going to ask just a couple of these questions, and then will prompt us all to do. So, Janet, you actually have a microphone. So I'm going to say, okay. How can you tell us just a little bit about how you came to faith?
Yes, so I was brought up in a Christian home. My mum and dad would have taught me a lot about scripture, about verses, about how to study the Bible. And my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, she was very evangelical about it, and we would have spent weekends with her studying the Bible and learning how to read it properly. And then I sort of continued on that journey most of my teen years, and a lot of my friendships were based around faith and the things we would have done together. We would have gone to each other's churches and that sort of thing. I wasn't any particular denomination. My parents chose not to christen us, even though we went to either Baptist or Church of Ireland. They chose to baptise us themselves in the sea. So,
as a profession of your faith?
Yeah.
Yes, as an older person, good.
So it was sort of a mixture, and sometimes that misled me in ways because I didn't know what I really ascribed to. And then at 18, I moved away to university, and I was there for 6 years, and I had no friendships that were based around faith at all, and I was probably quite concerned about, falling out with people because I had beliefs. I still had the beliefs, but I didn't advertise it really, and I fell away from that probably throughout university, and then it sort of leads me to where I am now, where I'm trying to pick it back up again. And it's very important to me because we have a daughter now, and I want her to have the best opportunity in the way that I did. So,
Amen. That's good. Can I add then, Emma? You have a microphone. We'll pass yours on to you in a minute, Joe. You're all right. Emma has a microphone. So, what was your coming to faith like?
So I didn't come from a Christian family at all. Nobody in my immediate family or outer family is a Christian, has any beliefs in any way. So I kind of grew up not really knowing anything at all. And then met Will at school. And
sorry.
and kind of he was a Christian and his family Christians, and because it was so different to what I'd been brought up with, I was just so drawn to it, and I was so intrigued by it and wanted to ask questions constantly about God and about Jesus and about, oh, what about this and that, and I think I probably drove him a bit mad, really, especially his mum. But no, so then just felt something in me be like, no, I want this. I want to kind of know Jesus for myself, and yeah, and I think it just sort of was a bit of a light bulb moment for me, actually. I just one day just thought to myself, no, yeah, I want this, actually. And Will kind of like, told me how to pray through it and how to sort of accept Jesus, and then
And what age were you at that stage?
Oh gosh, I don't even know. We were talking about this the other day. I don't even remember. I think leaving school.
16, Will says.
Really?
Okay.
Gosh. Yes.
2 years ago, yes. Right, that's good.
Sort of around that age.
Thank you. Can you pass on? Now, Joe, you have a whole different walk of life and how you came to actually give your life to Jesus. In fact, you can tell us. We want to hear you, Joe.
Both my mother and my father's side of the family were all more or less all saved, most of them. My mother was saved, my father wasn't. And when I was about 10-year-old, I believed I was saved. Mm-hmm. Not the way I feel now, but when I was 10-year-old, I didn't know any better. But I started work then, and when I went out and work, I ended up the type of work I do with industry and that. I'd have been out with guys who liked to drink or liked to gamble and liked to curse. And maybe didn't like the curse, but you had a curse in them places that you worked in. That's the way it was, just as simple as that. Never really left wanting to know about the Bible. Always read the Bible, even when I was doing all the things I shouldn't be doing. Still had a great interest in the Bible and all things religious, but didn't really go near anything again until maybe this last 10 years when I started to go to a church here and there. Mm-hmm. Never went again the second time. Then, sorry, I'm getting...
So really I remember you saying about you were on a journey and you'd gone to lots of different churches, just wanting to find something.
Yeah, I was always looking for something.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're all right.
I was always looking for something, but only going to a church once. Any
Yeah.
church I went to, I only went to once. Nothing wrong with those churches, but just wasn't me.
For you.
And then I come around here by accident. I told you, before, because Isabel was trailing me around the shops in Lisburn.
Trailing them around the shops for anyone who wants an interpretation, okay?
But so I knew this was a cafe. I come in here to say, when you're ready, I'll be in the cafe. I'll have a coffee. And I was talking to Samuel, and he says, why not come here on Sunday? When I asked him through those doors, hey, what's this? He says, the church. Didn't look like a church to me, but anyway, it looked like business centre or something. But anyway, I came in this Sunday. I said to Isabel, give me a shirt, so she knew I was going to church. So I came round here, met Brian, and Brian came to me and welcomed me, and I told him, he asked me where I went. I told him I don't go anywhere, but I'll hardly be back here. Not being rude, just because I only done one church at then again.
Yeah.
I got a great welcome here. I met some lovely people. I'm still meeting some lovely people, but the next thing that happened to me was my mother took bad. She was getting old, she was frail, she was tired. She was just finished, and she was in a home. And because I was able to go round to the home, which was close to where I worked, I was able to go around 2-3 times a day. Mm-hmm. And with her not been in any form to talk and lying there with her eyes closed, I'd have been lifting the Bible and reading
right.
the Gideon Bible. Still coming round here, by this time it Isabel coming round with me.
So for a man who never went to church more than once, he came in the first morning, he says, now, I'm here today, but you'll not see me again, he told Brian.
Yeah.
So a few weeks later, then he persuades Isabel to come as well. So we're on this journey.
Anyway, then my mother was lying, what have you, not responding, and I'm reading the Bible because it was nothing else to do. Nothing else to do, but reading
That's
it because I wanted to read it. But
Yeah.
if her eyes had been open, I'd have been talking to her. Anyway, my mother passed away, and when she passed away, it was a toss-up between my sister and me to put the lid in the coffin or not. Sister wanted the lid in the coffin, and I didn't. I got my way.
Okay.
Had the lid have went in the coffin on the next morning, and there's only me and my mother there, I wouldn't have talked to the lid of a coffin.
Right, okay.
But my mother was there, and I talked to her, and I talked to God.
Good.
And when I got home, I didn't say to Isabel or anything about that. And when Johnny Brown come to our house, you were in England, and Johnny Brown come to our house to speak to us that he was going to do the service. Didn't tell Johnny Brown it either.
Right.
And the next morning, Sunday morning, we're here and we're sitting over there, sorry.
Yeah.
Isabel was able to tell me I started to shake. I didn't know I was shaking. But I said to her, I got to do something here. And Johnny Brown was standing in front of me. Brian was standing here giving us a sermon. I says, I got to do something here. And Isabel says, talk to Johnny. And I tapped Johnny on the shoulder, and he took me into this prayer room. Say, Johnny, I got to do something here, boy. I don't know where I am.
Yeah.
And because of that, Johnny said to me, well, you prepared to give your life to Jesus? I said, yeah.
Amen. Amen. So what a journey. So never, ever, as parents or as family, give up praying for your unsaved family. His mum was a Christian, and she prayed. And there may be people, even if you've no one in your family, there's others out there who, when they get to know you, are praying for you. So never, if you feel the urge to pray for someone in any consistency at all, always keep praying for them, because God answers those prayers. It's God's will that no one should perish. And so after all those years, Joe became a Christian. And so we're going to look at the next wee stage now.
Can
Sorry.
I just say one wee thing, if you don't mind?
All right.
One wee extra thing. When I got my sister, it was only me and my sister, and when I got to my sister and I told my mother,
Yeah.
or I told my sister about what had happened to me, my mother never tried to preach into us, but my sister says, my mother loved and knew that before she died. So
But she does know.
should have done that before I died,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. But she does know now. She knows you're part of that company of believers. And that's the exciting part. So sometimes people have actually gone through their lives praying for people and haven't, in their lifetime, seen the answer to prayer. But those prayers don't fall to the ground when we die. They are always the prayers of the saints that are given and offered, and God in His timing. We talked about timing the other week. There's a timing for all of these things, and time is moving on as well. The next question was, now that you, the three of you, you are Christians, as you've heard 3 different stories completely so far of how they became a Christian, but how have you found things going on in your life? How have you been able to grow from that? And I'm going to ask Emma first, because she just got the microphone back.
I think loads and loads and loads of things. Church is a big one. I think being a part of, like I always hear people talk about that whole coal story. Do you know, like when you take one bit of coal out, it just fizzles out, but when it's in a fire, it just burns, and that's what makes the fire. And I feel like fellowship in church is so important. It's so vital. So that's a major thing. Small groups and like courses, and there's been loads and loads of courses on at church. Like I remember Andy's journey course, which we did a little while ago. That was brilliant. That was really, really good. Like stuff like that just is practical teaching. yeah, I think, and I also think as much as spending time with other people, you know, church and small groups and courses and stuff, like I underestimate the importance of just one-on-one time, just, you know, me and God. And actually, yeah, you know, sometimes you can just busy yourself, can't you, with thinking, oh no, I'm doing this church thing over here, that kind of counts. But God's like, no, I just want to actually just be with just you. And just kind of, yeah, just have that quiet time with just you. So, yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
God is jealous for our time with him. And so church on Sunday is great. This is corporate worship. This is corporate learning together. But our personal time with God is very important. And so don't let the busyness of life, because it can happen. We've all done it. We could all put our hands up and go, yeah, the busyness of life, yes, we're doing church stuff, but actually we're at church meetings. But God's personal time with you, he really, God looks forward to you spending time with him. So don't miss out on that, because that's very important. Janet, what about you how have you progressed now in this last season?
I would second what Emma said about spending time with other people, and for me, Alpha came at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
I know some people know, but I signed up for Alpha on our first visit to the church, and since then, the friendships I've developed from that, and it's like I said, a lot of my friendships as a teenager fell away that were more faith-centered. So to have people to have those sorts of discussions with, know that you're on the same page and questions that you have, and it's sort of an extension of Alpha. You know, even though it's finished now, you still have someone to go to, and they're still coming from the same place. And circumstances as well have helped me to grow. I don't really think anyone can go through a pregnancy and not appreciate things that God does. You know. Even we were fortunate enough to have a lot of scans and seeing Ruby's heartbeat at 7 weeks, things like that, and the whole development. I don't think anyone can see that and not believe in more. So
yes, I often say that about people. When you see a newborn baby and you see even the very wee wrinkles in their fingers, you know, how could we not believe that God has made, that God is the creator? I mean, it's just an amazing, and we've two mums who are quite close to giving birth over the next few weeks, and we're looking forward to seeing those little wrinkly fingers, you know. But God is such an amazing God, and he can just work with us, and that's right. And I think, like Janet said, it's about friendships as well. So we can't be an island. We can't just hop in and out of church and not talk to anyone. But our personal time with God is what we're hearing, and also fellowship with others, that we grow together. Can you give Joe? Joe, was there anything in particular, I know in this season of newness in your walk with God, is there anything in particular? I know you've come to nearly everything that was on, so how have you found growing in God?
I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I really believe there's not a day passes that don't hear or read or learn something from all the different things I'm involved in, between reading the Bible, between just looking at the sky, just everything I see, I can see God's hand. I look at a river or a tree and I see God's hand. That's just as simple as that.
And just even in your life, I know we chatted on Friday, and like you said, you had maybe looked for God, your mum had prayed for you, but you had quite an interesting life. Could I say it that way? She says, It's very interesting. Have a chat with him, it's great.
In what sense do you mean?
Well, I mean, you had an interesting life, but you have become a different person.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah.
Different person.
So, you know, it's not just about my life. I know I've got my ticket to heaven. I'm sorted. Great. It's about life change. And I know in talking to Joe, and rather than him talk and tell you stories now, because Joe could tell you brilliant stories. You could be amused forever by his stories. But he has found Jesus. He has found a source of life. He is walking with Jesus every day. His life has changed. Isabel, who's sitting over there, says he is a different person. And she wishes he had done this years ago. Isn't that right?
That's correct, yes.
So we have had great times with all of those things. Our last question today, and Joe, just keep the microphone for a second, was, I know we've talked about courses and we've talked about Alpha. Did you enjoy the Alpha course? And I mean, if you didn't say it, it's okay to say it wasn't, but if you did,
Alpha
great.
course was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the introduction, enjoyed the food, and the Colin. I'm not going to go on about the yarns that he told, but
don't talk at the
enjoyed the
jokes
food,
aren't
the
good.
course. The introduction was wonderful, but it was going to be a bit, maybe all those people on the screen was going to be a bit fast for my brain to take in. But what I did really, really enjoy was the sitting down in the small groups, and I'm not, again, being rude, I'm glad it was a man's group. We talked maybe a wee bit more manly than we might have done with women. We might have been a bit more softer, if you take my meaning. I thoroughly
Just being
enjoyed...
real men?
What?
Being real men together?
No, I'm not saying we're being real men. I'm saying we're able to be honest and genuine and straight with each other and say things we mightn't have said had we have just met in a coffee up the street somewhere.
Yes.
We're really up for it all.
Good.
Nobody held back. We all learned. I know we all learned.
Amen.
I certainly learned.
Good. And Emma, again, you had a good experience of the groups, if you want to share any of that. And
Yes, I was hosting our group of girls, and we had such good fun. It was really, really good. We loved it, and like we were all just friends anyway. So it made it so light and fun. And we came in, and I think just sitting and like sharing a meal together as well, like it starts the night off really well, because it just sort of bonds you together a little bit. Like you just chat and have conversation over food, and it's nice. And then the group discussions were great. I love hearing other people's thoughts and opinions and ideas on stuff. The questions were so deep. And actually it took a little bit of time really for us to process them and think about what we were going to say first. But no, just hearing how everybody, felt and thought about ideas was good. The testimonies in the videos were unreal. There was one testimony that we watched about the, I don't know if you remember in the news, the miners who were down that mine for I don't even know how many days. But I think there was, I can't remember all the details, but basically they came out, and the majority of the guys that came out had given their lives to Jesus and had become saved, or down this pit, and it just so stuff like that, the testimonies is brilliant.
And you grew yourself. You said you were a host, so you weren't just you were part of the group, but you were a host. You were trying to think through how do you ask the questions, so that grew you as well.
Yes, I hadn't ever done not something on this level, not like leading a group like this. So I felt like I was put on the spot quite a bit, but I loved it. I really, really did. And through the weeks, in the beginning, I sort of did find it a bit tricky, as you probably would do. But as the weeks went on, it got better, and I felt like I was adapting better and was improving. And our group was brilliant anyway. I love all of our girls so much. So, it didn't feel hard work. It felt
But I suppose as a host, you weren't just one of the group. You actually had to think outside of yourself, which was a good thing as well, so because that's what part of Christian walk is. It's about being otherly minded. And so for all of the people who were hosts or helpers, it wasn't just go and give an opinion. It was go and be aware of people's opinions, be aware of the quiet ones, the noisier ones, and all of that. Be aware of all the different types of people. So that was a growing spurt as well for you. So I know you'd shared that with me. Janet, how did you find being in the group? Your first experience with us is actually the Alpha group, and then coming to church.
Exactly. Our group, I feel like we all got to know each other really well, and although when you look at it initially, there's only 2 or 3 questions each week, you actually, once you get talking, the experiences people share are brilliant, and you just open up with each other. And Amy was very good at guiding everybody, and I feel like we all are quite close now, and you feel as though you've built up a relationship, and it also allowed you to feel comfortable to ask difficult questions, because I think you don't often get the opportunity to ask those sorts of questions in a normal environment. There's not many churches where you feel you could stand up and say, well, actually, who made God, or anything like that. So I thought that was really good, and it made you more accountable as well, to want to go home and look into Scripture more and to think about it more.
So there we are. We don't have much time left this morning. I know the band will want to come and do a song again, but I want you to say thank you for the appreciation of the nervousness of people here on the stage this morning. To Janet, to Emma, and to Joe, thank you very much for how they've shared this morning. And I just want to let you know, part one is becoming a servant of the Most High God, is becoming that Jesus is your personal Saviour. That's the first part of your journey, but it's only the beginning. And so in church life here and in other churches round about, we want to, number one, have church service where we corporately worship and hear the Word of God on a Sunday. But we also have different things throughout the week. We've had different journeys. We have a Tuesday night that we do. We have small groups that we've done. We have the journey course, which is a bigger or smaller group. We have the Alpha course where we've done, and it's been a 12-week course. So throughout this season coming in, and I know most of you, as I've talked to you, you've benefited from most of those. Everyone has a different way of learning. So don't just come to one. Come to different things and find your niche. Find a niche that you will be able to grow in God, that you'll be able to have that sense of purpose, because we talk about destiny and purpose, and sometimes if we just do the Sunday stuff, that's really not enough. We need to do more than that. There are different things that are happening. So find out about what's going on in our new season. We'll be putting it on our Facebook page, apparently. I'll probably try and look at it at some stage if I can find it. But it's just me, I can't find things. But so we'll be doing different meetings. We'll be doing the journey. We'll be doing different things. So please feel free to look at the different things that are happening and commit yourself. Commit yourself to doing like a 4-week course on a certain study or whatever we're going to do. But do more than Sunday, because that's where the adventure begins, because we are getting real and committed and wanting everything God has for us. And we only find that out by giving our all to Him first. So thank you very much, and thank you, team, for this morning.